Welcome back everybody to Serpent Series Class 8 out of 10 Bardics, Competitive Bardics 202. Today, we're going to go over what you can do to elevate your Bardic performance so that you can get a higher score at tournaments. Know your judges. There are generally two types of competitions that you may find yourself performing a Bardic in. The first one being your basic Dragon Master or Quals tournament. The second one being a Bardic competition of some sort. In a Bardic competition, you're being judged directly against other performances, and those performances may affect both how you perform and how the judges rank your performance. In a Dragon Master or Quals tournament, you're being judged solely on the piece. There are strict rules to judging these entries, and each piece receives a number score relative to the category the piece was entered in. The struggle here is that getting a high score is very tough, especially for performances. A tangible item can be inspected and thought over and looked at multiple times from different angles. A performance is finite. You only get the one chance, and the judges have to decide the score on the spot without the opportunity to reevaluate the piece. Feedback from Dragon Master and Quals tends to also be much more blunt and harsh than that of a Bardic competition, and you'd need to be prepared for this ahead of time. Be prepared. I'm not just talking about the catchy Jeremy Irons musical number from Disney's The Lion King. Like I said before, you only get one chance at competition. You need to know your piece. Never bring lyrics or sheet music to a competitive performance. If you pull out your phone at all, you'll automatically be scored lower than if you had your stuff memorized. If you're doing an online Bardic, you can add backing music to your piece as long as it elevates your performance, like an orchestral backing to your vocals or solo instrumental. Don't ever sing over a recording of somebody else's singing in a competition. It's tacky and only makes you sound bad in comparison. It's almost never appropriate to have backing music, even just instrumentals, when performing in person. Unless you have a professional audio system, it's not going to sound good. Being prepared also means putting your piece into the right category and choosing the correct performance for you. If you follow this link right here, you'll see that I went over this in a previous video in the series. Dress the part. A knight going into battle adorns his armor and weapons. A king wears his crown and stole. A bard too should be dressed to impress. When you're on that stage, you're playing a character, and a character needs to be fleshed out and lived in. The way you look and the way you present yourself are important, and are a part of the performance. It adds legitimacy and entertainment to your piece. It'll also help raise your confidence. Nice garb, makeup, and jewelry are just a few ways that I like to get into the character of the DarkBard. Use the whole stage. A perfectly performed piece, all notes, chords, and words where they need to be, done in one static spot with no movement, is boring and robotic. You're given an area to perform in, and it's smart to use it all. Dance along to your own music, emote with your body, corner to corner, front to back. Be big and be deliberate with your movements. Use both the vertical and the horizontal. Be aware though that there is a point where it can become distracting from your piece, or can affect whether the judges can hear you or not. Be dynamic, volume, and emotion. When I was in middle school, my science teacher ran an experiment for the class, and I was pulled up to assist, to be the guinea pig really. In front of me, she said, are 3 bowls with liquid in it. One is hot water, one is ice water, and the last is at room temperature. She placed my left hand in the hot water. I flinched a bit. It wasn't too hot, but it definitely wasn't comfortable. She then placed my right hand in the ice water. It was so cold I almost couldn't keep my hand inside. She then had the class count to 30. When they got there, she had me place my left hand in the room temperature bowl and asked how it felt. It felt cold and relieving after the hot water my left hand had just been in. She then had me do the same thing with my right hand. When I put my cold hand in the room temperature water, I actually flinched again, because surprisingly, the room temperature water on my cold hand now felt even hotter than the hot water had at the beginning of the experiment. I remember this story now as proof that dynamics need to be taken into consideration when performing. My quiets don't have to be so quiet that they can't be heard, as long as my louds are dynamically louder. The same goes for emotion. Be dynamic with your facial expressions. Let the crowd know when something is supposed to be happy or sad, making the changes big and dynamic. Keep it original. Doing something brand new that you wrote yourself will score you extra points in the judging. But originality doesn't mean you have to create the piece yourself. Take a piece and make it your own. Change it in a fun, meaningful way, or do it in a way that hasn't been seen before, and you'll see those same score increases you would see if you had done a piece you wrote. Have you ever seen a dramatic reading of The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe? Sure you have. Every bard tries to do The Raven at least once. But have you ever seen it performed in pajamas with a puppet raven, done in Poe's original Virginia by Boston accent? There's always a way to make even the most overdone piece original, new, and fun. Have a great attitude. This is a competition, it's not war. Don't take any of it too seriously. A bad score isn't the end of the world, and an amazing score isn't either. Don't take it out on the judges or the other performers. Also, be a good sport. Stay and listen to other competitors, applaud and cheer them on as you would want them to do for you. Even if it's at an elimination style tournament and you get knocked out early. Be there for your fellow bards. The audience is the real judge. Sometimes the judges are your only audience, but in most cases you'll have at least a small crowd around to witness the performance. Play to your audience, make eye contact with them. Ensure that even the person sitting the furthest away feels like they're a part of the show. Keep your judges in mind, but a good judge will see how the audience reacts to your crowd work and take that into consideration when judging. In high-quality performances, sometimes the only way to choose who wins is by paying attention to what the audience feels. This brings me to the end of the last clash portion of the Serpent series. I have really enjoyed putting all of these classes and videos together for everyone to see. I don't often get the opportunity to share what I know with other people. It's also been good to get back to script writing and video editing. I think the increase in quality in the videos as we progress through the series has been pretty obvious. I did so much of it during the pandemic, but I let that muscle get soft over the last few years. I'm very happy to have done it. I just want to say thank you for watching, and please, come back for the next 2 weeks as I do open Q&As for the Serpent series topics, sewing, and Bardic. Any questions that you think I've missed, or maybe anything you want clarification on, feel free to stop by and ask. But until next time, see you later.